Guys, welcome back to the channel. We are going to cover a story that has been brewing for I want to say the last year, the better part of the last year. But we do know that there have been rumblings for a few years now. Nicki Minaj has gone back out to Twitter and has dropped a lot of different bombs. She's been seen and in the mix as it relates to the Charlie Kirk assassination, Erica Kirk, the scandal behind that, Point USA, the scandal involving that. And now she's being used, people are saying, as a puppet for MAGA. So we're going to get into what's really happening. If you are new here, then you may not be aware of the fact that we've been covering this for maybe 2 years now, Nicki Minaj and a few other celebrities, and what's going on behind the scenes, as far as like their energy is concerned, the influences around them and all that. So we're going to get into specifics about what's going on with Nikki and what's the projected outcome. Now, the first card that came out was last interview reveals all. This could be seen as somewhat of a motive. There's a lot of motives that are out here as far as the reading is concerned. A lot of motives that are pointing to the reasons why she may have either done these things or felt compelled to involve herself or why she was brought in. Okay, so the last interview revealed all. I have not seen that last interview that I think posted yesterday, the day before, with her and someone named Katie Miller, I think. She also did an interview with Charlie Kirk's wife, um, Erica. And I think there was one other thing that she did. Oh, she spoke at the United Nations. She presented something about genocide of Christians in Nigeria, something like that. Okay, so why is all of this happening? Now we have team knew but stayed quiet. So the team knew what the real motive was, but they stayed quiet because they need her to do something. Okay, there's something that she needs to fulfill. Witness entered secret protection. Now this is a card that I don't know if this has to do with something going on currently or if this has to do with like maybe somebody linked to her in their past. Like, are we talking about her husband? Is the energy that I'm picking up on having to do with something that she is dealing with, like having to go into some form of like hiding? But we have at the center of the reading old acquaintance holding a grudge, and then something about like a spirit clone. Now she's talked about cloning, I want to say 2 years ago. It might have been longer than that, but I do remember her talking about cloning and her almost bringing this certain level of awareness, like the public didn't know and she was the one exposing it. And that's kind of like what I feel like she's doing this time around. It's like a lot of people have become privy to Pizzagate and all of the dealings with that and what it's related to and who's involved. Like we've already been privy to that info, but what we haven't seen a lot of is celebrities coming out and speaking out, right? So she could be using her platform as a way to get the public's attention without really understanding that some of us are not going to be necessarily moved by what she's saying. And it's not because we are asleep. It just has to do with the fact of her being the mouthpiece for it. Some people kind of look at it as if it's a little bit fishy. The motives behind why she's doing certain things may have been driven so that she could become an American citizen, so that she can also get immunity or leniency on her husband's case and he can kind of be removed from a pedophile list, you know, maybe to get a pardon for her brother. It's a lot of different reasons and speculations that people have as to why she did this. Okay. Now, the old acquaintance holding a grudge, I don't know if this is just specific to one person or if this is about the beef that she has ongoing with the industry, like the industry itself, and them orchestrating beef and creating this dynamic where there is a quote unquote hate train against her. All of those things could be a thing, but planted a story to distract. So this is kind of like where I think we're seeing where the lines are kind of being crossed because she Okay, we have a tabloid target here. Real story being buried. All right. So she could either be the target of hit pieces, or she's trying her best to get a story that's been planted out in the open. Okay, so she may be like being used as a pawn in some way. But I think part of why this is happening, because we have this cancel culture scandal, facing public scrutiny and risk of career collapse due to controversial statements or actions. Um, so it's almost as if like she was doing the bidding of someone else for the sake of her career, but it seems like it's backfiring. Like it seems as though like there's some type of backlash that she did not calculate in this decision. And it has to do with these industry secrets. Okay, so the major truths about entertainment industry that are tightly guarded. This is something that I think she thought would help either cancel someone else, but it's not playing out the way she wants to because she herself is not clean. I need to go back to that other reading that I did of her back sometime in October or November, where I was discussing what her actual issues are in terms of her business dealings that are holding her back. Um but it does seem like there's a little bit of fear here now. I haven't picked up on this level of fear in her readings previously, but we have another motive card. We have three other motive cards here: sacrificed for an occult ritual, okay, or like the possibility of being sacrificed. At the center of that is private island ownership. So again, private island ownership. This feels like we're somehow drumming up information about the Epstein files, connected to multiple high profile deaths. This is the card that's in between sacrifice for an occult ritual. Okay, so Epstein could have been sacrificed, or there could be someone that she is bidding to be sacrificed next who was connected to these high profile deaths, that involve a private island ownership or someone who owned a private island. Okay, so this feels like we're really just playing out the cards for this story where Jay-Z is being mentioned in these Epstein files. Now, that doesn't really say everything because, again, we haven't seen full, clear evidence on what possibly, could be the allegations with Jay-Z. We just keep seeing these lawsuits. So, now let's go on. We have as the final motive card, well, in this row, we have business deal gone wrong. I've talked about this many times about the fact that her money is tied up. She did mention not too long ago, I guess a couple days ago, she said that she wanted to um renegotiate her deal before she drops another album. I think she's already felt like that. This is what gets me with Nicki Minaj. When she said that, my first thought was, this was always the plan. Way back when she disrupted Cardi B's rollout by dropping all of these, salacious tweets, but then also tying them in with the hashtag of her album date that was set to release, I think, March 26th of this year. Back then, I felt as though that this was just a way to kind of drum up some noise. And by the time March came around, we were not going to get the album that we were promised. It looks like that's kind of the case here. Maybe she thought that she would have the business end of things like figured out, but it's definitely not going in her favor. Um, Even though Jay-Z and his name is being like kind of run through the mud right now, it's still not working in specifically Nicki Minaj's favor for her to be the main mouthpiece of a lot of what's being said about Jay-Z. Okay, so let's try to um pull up any other energy here. Hopefully the sound is not a problem. Hopefully you guys can hear me. All right, what else do we need to know about this situation with Nicki Minaj? What other clarifying cards can come out? Okay, uncredited cameo appearance. Uncredited cameo appearance. I don't know what that has to do with. Maybe she didn't get paid. I don't know why I'm picking up on that just immediately, but it's like something about maybe not getting paid to do something that she was a part of. We have a squeaky clean reputation here on top of this cancel culture scandal. Okay. So I think this is where we're getting the clarification of like Jay-Z, because most of, up until the last year, most of what we heard about Jay-Z, um, in main headlines was like positive, even though there was always things in the background about what was really going on. So his squeaky clean appearance or reputation that he has by proxy through Beyonce as well is something that I feel like is getting tarnished right now. There also is a card here that just flew out, Public Redemption Arc. Figure trying to make a comeback after being enrolled or embroiled in controversy. So this is where you're seeing like almost like crabs in a barrel right now. Um, because also just using some critical thinking skills. If this is something that Nikki has known about this whole time, what is the actual motive of her coming out with this information now? Okay, so that's something that I think the general public needs to take into consideration when looking at this stuff and kind of like taking in what she's saying. You have to be mindful of the fact that she obviously has something to lose. Okay, there's something going on as far as like maybe a deal that could help with expanding into long-term opportunities, and this is where I think like she's having an issue with her record label. Something to do with her record label tying her up with something in Rock Nation. Now, I don't know if this is a direct link to Rock Nation, like managing a specific project, or if this has to do with the title deal where, she is disputing that people owe her money from way back then. But I'm trying to figure out where the negotiation of the album, like why is that her main motive? What's going on with the album? Okay, denies rumors. There's a feud happening. Obviously, we know that. Okay, it's some type of long-standing agreement, though. Um, I think also what's happening is like she denies her own rumors. So that's part of the reason why she can't get spiritually cleared for whatever it is that's due to her as far as karmic justice is concerned. She's not gonna see that because she's not owning up to the associations close to her and anything that she may have benefited from, due to the success of her album in the industry and like success in music that she's had or whatever. For her to come out and say, oh, this is how they're gaining their success, I mean, everybody has to kind of give her a side eye as well and be like, well, how do we expect you to have gotten your success too? Because you were sitting and smiling next to this person for X amount of years. So it's more like, sorry, that is my washer. I'm pretty sure it's loud. But that's where I think the issue that she's having is with half of the public is like, she looks like the person who's holding the grudge as opposed to it looking like people are trying to hold her back. Okay. So anything else? Canceled project, an abrupt end to plans or opportunities. Okay, so this is what she's upset about. It seems like there's some type of canceled project. Hitman. Okay, no, so this kind of makes me think about when she was supposed to have that HBO documentary, and I think she mentioned this in her tweets as well. God, that is so loud. But there was something about her, something about that would have led to other opportunities that she's also upset about. But we have this hitman or contract killing here. So I think she knows that her life or something about her livelihood is being threatened. I won't say her life, even though that has kind of been like what I think she's ultimately trying to hint at. But I don't think she wants to go so far to say that much now because maybe she's still trying to play her cards. I don't, it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense right now because there's too many other intricate details. Okay. And it's like if she exposes that, then she would have to expose some of her own narcissistic tendencies or some of her own shortcomings. It's something about her having like an inflated ego or needing to constantly be worshipped that I think is part of like what's adding to her fallout with the public. But she's trying to, through all of these actions, like all of these things are done strategically. Now this is also just assuming that Nicki Minaj is still Nicki Minaj, okay? Because there is the possibility of them using her likeness to do these things um against her will. Okay, that can always be a possibility, but we're just gonna assume that Nicki Minaj is Nicki Minaj still. All right, and she's trying to manifest a new role in the public sphere. Okay, um, right now her entourage or her creative team could have like some either hidden agenda or they could be trying. She could be trying to like adjust that. That's come out before. Um Okay, there's also something about a hidden paternity. I don't know if this is something that's supposed to be coming out or if this is something that she has been hiding or trying to keep under wraps or if this is going to be like a planted story that they try to drum up in the future to kind of try to interfere with her relationship. Something about that is shaky. All right, what else? All right. There's some talk about a big studio movie. Um, Now I wonder if this has to do with her recent appearance at the Melania Trump movie premiere, or if this is just talking about like opportunities that she may have missed out on through these association with the people that she's holding a grudge with, whoever that may be. But basically, right now, what she's dealing with right now is she could feel cursed or have dark energy surrounding her. Um, and I think that is something that has been confirmed by her. It's like, she'll talk about that she's more than a conqueror and she's victorious over this and that, and all these people are going to get their karma because she's walking karma, this and that. Like, we've heard, okay, we know. So, anyway, basically, that mindset just tells me that she really is like fearful right now. Um, it's almost as if she's trying to convince herself by outwardly speaking out about certain things. It's she's trying to convince herself that she is protected, and I'm not saying that she's not. It's just more so about the fear that she's operating in and out of. That's part of why we're seeing these emotional outbursts, because it's a lot of fear based. It's very fear based. Okay. She's trying to like move through all of these obstacles, like whatever life has been throwing at her. She's trying to move through it, but I think she's realizing like she really is a rookie. There's something that she missed. It's like it's almost as if she went to Hollywood school, but someone may have intentionally uh intentionally made it so that she wouldn't get, why am I hearing it like this, like she would not get certain information. So somebody hid something from her, or she was ignorant to some information and someone took advantage of that. It's something like that, okay? Um and it has to do something that is going to come out about this situation in the next eclipse, which I think is scheduled for February 17th, if I'm not mistaken. But there's going to be some shifts happening on, or like I want to say maybe 3 days before, 3 days after that date. Please mark it. If you come back to this reading and it's after or on February 17th, let me know in the comments what's going on. Okay. But either way, whatever this is, it's coming out. There's going to be something, or there's something that's already she's already become aware of something, like maybe there was some type of business front for money laundering that she's become aware of. I've already talked about her being a mule. um I wonder if that is going to get like confirmed at some point, because I already know it's true because it's just come out too many times in readings. But there is something here about like a paternity test. Like I don't know if somebody is, like, I don't see it being like Papa Bear. Definitely not him. But it could be something that Zoo is connected to that could be coming out about a baby. And Nikki's been trying to keep this under wraps. I don't know. That seems like a separate story. But it does feel like it's like it's creating a lot of unresolved pain for her, or even bitterness in the relationship. But it's small right now. It's like something that's been festering, but it's still like not as great as the other problems that she has around her right now. She also could be experiencing, I don't know if it's just on her family or if it's like her in-laws, but there are manipulative family members around her that are creating like a toxic dynamic, or even creating like power struggles that she's having to deal with that can affect or influence career decisions that she's making. And there could also just be instances where people are exploiting her celebrity status for their own personal gain right now. But this is like old news, and this could be also someone from the past that is coming back. Now, that does make sense as well, because we have, from what I know, Deb Antney is around her right now, and that's somebody who was with her at the beginning of her career, and there was something that created a fallout but behind them, but that's not important right now. What I think is the biggest takeaway is the fact that she has a lot of eyes on her. This came out months ago about her being surveillance, and I don't think she's aware of who's doing the surveilling. Okay, but there is some type of fan theory that is floating around right now. I don't know what it is, but that's the card that's coming out. Fan theory was right. Okay, so there's something going on in the barbs. If you are a barb and you know what's going on, let me know. Okay. There could also be something linked to charity. Okay. That's in the vault. This could also just be talking about with this hidden vault card. I'm also just picking up on her actual like music. So, she could be having a few things in the tuck that she wants to release. Or has already released to like a very small circle of people, but it has to do with like rebranding ultimately. She's in the space right now where she's going to have to do a complete overhaul for her to make this comeback a comeback. And she's probably not even looking at it as a comeback, and that's part of the issue. Is she's still looking like, I think, okay, thank you. So she's been in survival mode for so long that anything she creates from this space is not necessarily going to be successful in the way that she would look at it, because she's operating out of fear. Okay, this is all to kind of get and expose other people that she's had a grudge towards, or they've had a grudge towards her. Either way, it's like a very negative space. So she's operating from a deficit, which you cannot really create from. Yes, you can create from nothing, but create you cannot create a high frequency thing from like a deficit or a negative space without doing the clearing first. So like there's going to be some level of transformation or alchemy that she's going to have to do, which is going to require her to be more introspective, which I think is a hard thing for her to do for some reason. Something about her being introspective is like her holdup or her block, and that's creating a lot of like emotional either wounds, traumas, blockages. It's something about that. All right. So let's see. Um Okay, so the last card that came out as the overall is trapped in a contract, stick in a career relationship, or legal deal with no escape. Oh, stuck. She's stuck in some type of career relationship or legal deal with no escape. That's her biggest issue right now. And there's something about like a new house announcement, or she could be selling or buying a new house soon. I know there was something going on with her home recently where she wanted to pay off, or she had to pay off. There was some judgment of like her paying off maybe $500,000 in taxes or some type of fees. I don't know. But either way, that could be in reference to that. But I think something about her home being a money pit also could be significant. So we'll see how that plays out in the future. But that is the reading on Nicki Minaj's current energy. I hope you guys resonated and kind of like could pick through the energy as I was going along. But if you liked it, please make sure that you also hit that like button so we can get this message out to other people. And I will see you guys in the next reading. I think what I'm doing next is well, I do know I have coming up the profile on French Montana and his recent engagement to the Princess of Dubai. That should be interesting. That I think is gonna drop either tonight or tomorrow. So stay tuned for that. Okay. I love you. Bye.